All right, so let's get ready for the shoot here. So we'll get some makeup on and get ready and do my hair and stuff. So who cares about any of this? Here we go. We're all set. Get this. Hey everyone, this is Aria. If you don't know me, that's my name. I'm so good at talking. You can see I'm so good at talking. Let's get into it. Again, my name is Aria. I'm trans, and I had gender reassignment surgery a month ago. Actually, Monday is the 1 month mark. I'm still recovering from that, and that is kind of the topic of this video. So a little bit more about me. I'm kind of the classic case of like, I knew who and what I was when I was like 4. I would get clothes wherever I could, I dress up, and I always identified as one of the girls, and I always played like house and make-believe and whatever with the other girls around me. And it's hard to explain if you don't have gender dysphoria, I guess, but you just kind of know, right? Like you have an internal sense of self. You just kind of know that, you know, who and what you are. And will my reflection show? When I was growing up, I always kind of like thought that maybe it was just like a phase, or I'd grow out of it, or whatever. And as soon as I hit puberty, it got way worse. I hated going through puberty. It was awful because it felt so wrong. And I used to tell myself, like, as soon as I turn 18, I'm gonna move out, run away, and go and transition, right? Fun fact, too, when I first got access to the internet, I'm old, so I didn't have the internet until I was probably like 12. The very first thing I did on the internet is I actually like looked up what was like going on with me, and then I found out, you know, that there were other people like me. And so I, you know, kind of had more of a sense of self and purpose and all of that. I experienced a ton of transphobia from everybody around me, television representation, horrible stories you would hear, the way that people would disparage us and talk about us and stuff. My dad and my family didn't have very good opinions of it. When I turned 18, I kind of chickened out, and I didn't leave like I said I was going to, and I tried to like play the cis life. I got married, I got divorced later. I've been in and out of a lot of relationships, but that's kind of some backstory. The one thing about me too is this is probably going to get me like instantly canceled, but I'll preface this by saying that I don't view myself as superior to anybody else, and I don't think that how I identify invalidates other transgender people. How I identify myself has kind of become bad. It's a bad word in the community. It's very looked down upon. The fact that I identify this way has gotten me called a true scum and worse and all kinds of things. Just I've been called old and outdated. And just all these horrible things. But anyway, if you haven't figured it out by now, I identify actually as transsexual. And the reason why I identify as transsexual is I have always felt that my gender, my sense of self, for as long as I have memories, I've always been, you know, female, a girl, a woman. I've never felt like I wasn't. It's been persistent throughout my entire life. I view my transition not as in that I was transitioning my gender, or I don't even think that like gender affirmation even describes it correctly. Like, I don't feel like I did any of this to affirm my gender. because I knew what my gender was. I didn't need anything to affirm it, right? So I think that like gender affirmation or whatever still doesn't like describe my experience, right? So I view my transition as, and this is like the name of the old name of the surgery and stuff, but I view my transition as being a change in physical sex and physical sex characteristics. So taking hormones, um, growing breasts, having sexual reassignment surgery, all that stuff, and that is the way I refer to it. Kind of, at least personally, like when I'm talking to other people, a lot of times I'll just say trans or that I had GRS or whatever, just because like I don't want to fight people. But so that's how I identify, and that's kind of how I see myself. How long is it now? I'm 5 months away from being 34. So I decided to transition the day before I turned 30. I decided that if I didn't do it then, I'd probably never do it, and I couldn't deal with it anymore. It was too difficult. It was destroying me, my mental health. It was destroying my relationships. It was causing so many problems. And so the day before I turned 30, I got in touch with my doctors, and I found a psychologist, and I began my transition. So it's been about 3.5 years of transition. For the most part, I consider my transition complete. I've had 2 surgeries. I've been on hormones for a couple years. Plus, I've been out publicly for quite a long time, and I've had all of my legal identity stuff changed for over a year. I've basically like accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish with my transition. I'm happy with my appearance. I'm happy with how I feel internally. I had the surgery, all that stuff. So I do consider my transition complete. Why I wanted to make this, I'm saying so many times. That's so bad. They teach you like in public speaking, you're not supposed to do that. So the reason why I'm making this video is I feel like in these discussions of like trans people having the surgery, I feel like the experience of the actual surgery itself, or like the recovery process or the emotional toll or any of that, I feel like it gets looked over a lot. I feel like people kind of like gloss over that. They'll talk about it for like 3 seconds. Like they'll do their, hey, I'm post-op, here's my wonderful experience or whatever. And so I wanted to give my perspective on the experience, on the surgery, everything that happened, and just kind of like give some real talk, just some insight, because like I said, I feel like this just never gets talked about. The reason why I got the surgery is, like I said, I wanted to transition my sex to match my gender. This was the final component of that. I had extreme genital dysphoria, very much impacted my mental health. So definitely, I'm happy I did it. I want to preface by saying I don't really have like regrets or anything, but I think that we do need to talk about like how intense this thing is. Like I said, I never hear, I don't feel like this gets talked about enough. First of all, going in for surgery was terrifying. It was so much worse this time than my last surgery. My first surgery was a bilateral orchiectomy. I was in and out for that one. I was under for an hour and I went home that day, and after about like a week or 2, I felt completely normal again. Had some kind of internal pain and like some phantom pain and stuff, but overall it wasn't too bad, that one. Actually, the worst part about it was kind of the hormonal changes. I went through what I would describe as like menopause symptoms, so I was really hot all the time and sweating a lot, and it was like winter, so I would just go outside in like my shorts and just like sit outside in the cold because I was so hot, and I was really tired, and all that was so intense. That was the worst part about it. Why this one was scary is because it's a major, major, major surgery. You have to stay in the hospital for like a week. There's a lot of unknowns with it. The unknown is terrifying. And then surgery too, I always feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna wake up or something. It was awful. So I was a nervous wreck going in. My favorite part of surgery though is like when they get you hooked up to the IV and you have all your waivers signed, the anesthesiologist will usually hit you up with some pretty sweet like calm down medicine, and that's the best. Like, it's literally the best, and you can just relax at that point. So I was under for quite a long time. I think it was 7.5 hours that I was under. I went in really early, like 6 in the morning for surgery, and I got out in the afternoon. And the first thing I remember when I woke up is I was in an extreme amount of pain. It felt like there was like a burning rod of fire like in that area, and it hurt so bad. And they wheeled me to the recovery room. At that point, the pain was so bad that I was screaming out and crying. And they didn't have me on any pain medicine when I woke up. And it was only because I was screaming and crying that they decided to finally give me something. That was the only IV medicine I ever got. I guess this is part of like the opiate crisis or whatever, but how they managed pain for the rest of my stay was just a combination of Tylenol and some other pills and whatever, and it kind of helped, but I was constantly in pain the entire hospital stay. The hospital stay was really awful. I could not get comfortable. I had a really hard time sleeping. It hurt a lot. I could definitely feel like pain in my urethra, because they have the catheter in, and it hurt a lot. And they were constantly taking labs and doing tests and just poking and prodding me the whole time. And I was just so uncomfortable. And of course, with COVID going on, I couldn't have any visitors. So I was completely alone in the hospital room and had to wear a mask the whole time, which made it more uncomfortable. I did get like flowers and stuff, so that was nice. So there were some positives, but otherwise it was really bad. The major thing that happened with my surgery is that I lost a lot of blood during the surgery. So I was very, very, very tired and lightheaded. They even talked about doing a transfusion at one point, but I guess like my red blood cell count started to recover on its own, so they decided not to. The first time that they had me stand up, I passed out. Just standing. I stood up and I passed out. And I woke up to like the code blue team. They were all around me. And they took a bunch more tests. It was crazy. I don't remember anything. I remember standing up is all I remember. And I passed out. And so this was like a result of the blood loss and stuff, which was pretty scary. The first week after I got discharged from the hospital, the first time that I took a shower, which was sitting down, of course, that's what they tell you to do. I got out of the shower and I fainted again. We had the EMTs come and they checked everything, and I was, fairly okay. Vitals were good and stuff. But yeah, just passed out again. So I was very, very weak and faint, and I felt awful the whole first week. I don't really remember too much of it. I was just, laying, sleeping, tired, and the whole time just like in constant pain, just throbbing, burning, nerve pain as well. Just, it hurts all the time. It's crazy. Recovery for this is really intense. I just really want to stress this. A lot of people, like, they talk about, like, oh yeah, like, recovery was, whatever, but I'm so happy now, and, and I know that I'm going to be happy with this. Like I said, I don't really have any regrets or anything, but I really feel like this experience gets glossed over. When you're discharged, you literally spend weeks just like in bed, in pain. It's hard to sleep, it's hard to get comfortable. I wanted to like do stuff like read and play video games and try to pass the time and stuff, but I couldn't really focus on those things. So I ended up just watching like a lot of TV. It's just been a really crazy recovery. After 3 weeks from the surgery, I came back home. I did go out of state to get my surgery done, so I flew back again, which during COVID was amazing. But I flew back. The plane ride and the car rides and all that are just hell. You know, you have to like sit on pillows and all the bumps are awful. The only reason I'm sitting in this chair right now is because I'm sitting on a pillow. I can't just like sit in the chair, and I can't sit in the chair for very long either. Maybe like 30 minutes to an hour at most is about all I can handle in the chair. Recovery is like a lot of work. You know, you have to constantly take care of the area. You have to, you know, clean it. You have a schedule. You have all kinds of stuff you have to do. You don't just get to lay around either. Like, you have stuff to do. And you have to shower every day because you need to keep the area clean, you know, so that just kind of adds to it. The one thing that I wasn't really ready for, they do warn you about this, but I still, I guess, like wasn't completely ready for it. Like one of the hardest parts about this, besides the pain, is like the emotional impact this has had on me. You definitely feel like a lot of feelings like, you know, oh God, what did I do? Like, why did I get myself into this, you know? And I felt kind of like hopeless and really depressed, and all of this is really normal, by the way. Depression with this is really normal. Mood swings, these temporary feelings of like, oh, what did I do? And I knew that going into it, but I think along with like how intense the pain level's been, I wasn't really ready for how intense the emotional stuff has been. I have been screaming, crying, depressed, so emotional. This is unlike anything I've ever done before. It was such a big impact. I like a lot of times I can't believe that I did it. It just seemed like so impossible of a task. Just like now that it's over, it's kind of unreal. I guess what I'm trying to say with all of this is like, if you're going in to get, you know, your plan is to get SRS or GRS or however you want to call it, you really need to be prepared. Prepare yourself. I don't know if you can be fully prepared or whatever, but just like, I think, like I said, it needs to be talked about more. Like, people really need to be prepared for this, for how intense it is. It's months of recovery time. And it's not just like months of like, haha, you have to be careful or whatever, or haha, it's months before you can have sex or whatever. It's like, it's not just like that. It's like, it's extreme pain. You're tired all the time. You have to constantly take care of it. It's emotionally devastating. And what I will say is, I think despite all of that, at least for me personally, I think that it's so, so worth it. You know, I think that going through this is just kind of like part of the process, part of the price you pay, you know, but like, you're in it for like the long-term happiness, right? So these are all temporary, but you know, you still have to be really prepared for it. And it's just crazy. And it's really important to have support and stuff. And doing this during COVID especially has been really challenging because I've been in quarantine and isolation a lot. I'm currently in quarantine right now. It's really hard dealing with this, especially like by yourself. So yeah, just be really aware of all of that going in. Some advice I would give is, along with, I think, your whole transition, not just like surgery, but I think that part of transition, like, you need to be really honest with yourself. You need to like ask yourself really big questions. And this should be part of your work with your therapist and stuff too. But, you know, you have to ask really big questions like, you know, why am I doing this? You know, what's my end goal? Am I ready for this? you know, digging into root causes of things, being really, really sure too. That's the other thing, right? Is like, there's no going back from this. So, like, you need to be like absolutely positive that this is what you want. I don't think that that's invalidating to say that. You know, there's a lot of talk in the trans community of that we have to affirm everybody, that, you know, positive affirmation, that everyone's valid, that, you know, you should just be able to do this without any doctors, without any permission, without anything. You know, they call it gatekeeping or whatever. But, you know, I do believe, and this is this is why I get called a truth scum, I guess, sometimes, but I do believe that you should have the assistance of doctors and the assistance of medical professionals and psychological services and all that stuff. Not only is a lot of this stuff psychologically very difficult, you know, taking hormones is dangerous too. Like, when you're taking an anti-androgen, it's possible for your potassium levels to get too high, and you could have breathing and heart issues. Taking estrogen puts you more at risk for blood clots, pulmonary embolism. You know, if you're overweight, it can cause heart issues. There's all kinds of things, and it makes you more prone to get like diabetes and different things. And so, like, it's important that, you know, you're monitoring your health very closely when you're going through this. So I guess my personal advice with that is just like, make sure you have people helping you with this, because, you know, not only is it physically very taxing, but it's mentally very taxing, and it's good to have help with it. And like, I understand the concept of, you know, like, there are people in your life, like your family, or there might be, you know, transition negative doctors that don't want to help you. And for some people, like, informed consent is the only way that they can begin their transition and all of that. And I understand that, but like, I still recommend at some point that you have people to help you through this, and so that you can be prepared for it as much as you possibly can. I feel like I did a lot of preparation work and it still wasn't enough. So I just like really want to drive back home. And that's why I think being honest with yourself is really important, because this is a really big deal. You know, this isn't just like a small cosmetic thing. It's huge. It's a big impact. There have been a lot of times that I've been so terrified. I mean, like, with all the blood loss and stuff, like, I felt like I was gonna die. Because I just felt so weak and so faint, and it was scary. You know, it's really scary. You know, you just really have to be ready for stuff. I guess what I want to finish on too is, this is true for me too, but you have to realize that like, SRS isn't gonna like solve all your problems either. I feel some relief from getting this done. One thing that's been interesting for me is, especially like when you're just sitting around, things don't really feel that different. It's not like a huge revelation. I mean, I'm happier with myself now that, like, when I look in the mirror, you know, I'm like, wow, like, my body finally matches my gender, and that's a great feeling. But I know that I still have some issues to work through after having a lifetime of gender dysphoria. You know, I still have suitcases to unpack and stuff. And so, you know, this isn't like a silver bullet that's gonna just fix all your problems. So that's another thing to be aware of. I kind of just view it as like a tool in the toolbox to kind of help you on your way with becoming yourself and being happy with yourself. Yeah, so I guess I've been talking for quite a while now, but but I did, like I said, I did want to make this video because, like I said, I just feel like the intense stuff that goes along with this really doesn't get talked about a lot. It's very intense. It's scary. It hurts. You're gonna cry a lot. It's it is hands down the craziest thing I've ever done in my life. I'm so happy it's over, but I'm so looking forward to getting to the point that I feel normal again. I'm 1 month into recovery, and I guess there was a part of me that thought that like a month in I should be feeling more back to normal and that I should be healed up really well. And things are healing very well. My post-op appointments have been going really great, and stuff is healing really nice, but it's still nowhere near like being normal. You know, there's a lot of swelling. There's still a lot of pain. It's difficult to sit still. It's so intense. It's probably going to be another month or two before I feel more normal again. So when they tell you that it's like a 3 or so month recovery, like, again, it's not just like, haha, you can't have sex for 3 months or whatever. Because that's what I hear a lot too. I hear a lot like, oh, well, it's this long until you can do whatever or whatever. But no, like, what they really mean is it's like 3 months until you're not like, constantly in pain and dealing with swelling and dealing with other stuff. Like, it's really crazy. So I still walk around, like, I kind of waddle around a little bit, and just like all kinds of fun. So I still wear like hospital socks because I'm afraid of falling. Dropping anything is devastating too, because like bending down to pick anything up is just like a nightmare. It's so crazy. It's so intense. And I see so many videos that are just like, I'm 1 month, post-op, and here's all these amazing experiences I've had or whatever. And maybe it really is just different, for other people, and maybe they just heal so much faster than I'm healing, or, something. But I did feel like I did need to say something, just to be kind of another voice in the equation here. There's a lot of stuff that was scary. The blood loss thing was terrifying, especially. There is a lot of risks and stuff. It's a very, very major surgery. I don't feel like I could stress that enough. It's very, very, very major. It's a very, very, very vascular part of your body, and surgery down there is really risky. It's a big deal. So yeah, to summarize, big deal. Be prepared. Ask tough questions. I want to wrap up by saying though that my surgeon was absolutely fantastic. The nicest person I've ever met, and they helped me so much through everything, and they continue to help me so much. I guess I would end on one final piece of advice, which is like, make sure you do a lot of research, not just into the procedure and the recovery process, but also do a lot of research in like who your surgeon is, and talk to other people that have had surgeries with them. Read up on check out reviews, talk to and interview this person, make sure that you know them very well and that you're comfortable, and it's hard, but it's worth it, essentially. So yeah, I don't know how to end videos, and I ramble a lot. As you can tell, my speaking style is very randomly and So I hope that this was enlightening, and in chat below, comments below, feel free to ask any clarifying questions. Feel free to go ahead and cancel me for the transsexual stuff, because like I've already been canceled several times in some circles because of that. So cancel me again. I don't really care. I just wanted to get this out there and be like a voice in the conversation, like I said. So, but if you have any questions regarding this, I'd be happy to answer anything. And yeah, anyway, this is like Aria signing out, I guess. Alright, so you can see that I'm still rocking some hospital socks. And yeah, 1 month in, this is how I'm walking. So I kind of have to take it slow, and I kind of waddle a little bit still. So yeah, like 1 month in, it's still fantastic.
So beautiful!